You've probably noticed when someone comes on incredibly strong right at the start. Constant texting, grand gestures, declaring intense feelings after just a few dates. It feels overwhelming but also intoxicating. Most people think it means they've found someone who's finally as invested as they are. The psychology behind it is completely different. This behavior has a name in psychology: love bombing. And it's not passion. It's a calculated manipulation tactic used by narcissists, sociopaths, and other personality-disordered individuals to create emotional dependence before the real abuse begins. Here's how the psychology works. Love bombing activates your brain's reward system in an extreme way. Research from the neuroscience of attachment shows that intense positive attention floods your brain with dopamine and oxytocin, the same neurochemicals involved in addiction. When someone showers you with excessive affection, compliments, future plans, and constant contact, your brain experiences a chemical high. You're not just falling for the person. You're becoming neurologically dependent on the feeling they create. But here's what most people don't understand. For the manipulator, this isn't genuine emotion. Psychologically, love bombing serves a specific function. It bypasses your natural defenses. Normally, you'd build trust gradually, watching for red flags and inconsistencies. Love bombing doesn't give you that time. It overwhelms your critical thinking with intensity. Studies on manipulation tactics show this creates what psychologists call premature intimacy, a false sense of closeness that hasn't been earned through actual shared experience or proven trustworthiness. The real reason this happens reveals the manipulator's core psychology. For someone with narcissistic personality disorder, love bombing fulfills their need for narcissistic supply, the constant validation and admiration they require. They're not seeing you as a whole person. You're a source of attention and control. Research from Dr. Ramani Durvasula, a clinical psychologist specializing in narcissistic abuse, explains that the love bomber is essentially securing their next source of supply by making you emotionally dependent before showing their true self. And this is where the real harm comes in. Love bombing always follows a predictable cycle. After the idealization phase, where you're placed on a pedestal, comes devaluation. Once the manipulator has secured your attachment, the excessive affection stops. Suddenly, they become critical, distant, or emotionally abusive. The contrast is devastating because your brain is still craving those dopamine hits they conditioned you to need. What the research reveals is why this switch happens. The love bomber was never sustaining genuine intimacy. That level of intensity is exhausting to maintain and wasn't based on real connection. When you start showing your authentic self, having needs, boundaries, or opinions, you're no longer the perfect mirror reflecting their idealized image back to them. So they devalue you to regain control and keep you destabilized. The cognitive distortion at play is intermittent reinforcement. After devaluation, they'll occasionally return to love-bombing behaviors, just enough to reactivate your hope and keep you hooked. Behavioral psychology research shows this creates one of the strongest psychological bonds possible, stronger even than consistent positive treatment. It's the same mechanism that makes gambling addictive. Psychologically speaking, what's actually happening is trauma bonding. You're not staying because the relationship is healthy. You're staying because your nervous system has been conditioned to associate this person with intense neurochemical rewards, and you're trying to get back to that initial high. Research on trauma bonds shows they're incredibly difficult to break, precisely because they're rooted in your brain chemistry, not rational decision-making. Now, when someone comes on overwhelmingly strong at the start, you'll recognize love bombing at work. That awareness alone changes how you respond. Healthy love builds gradually, with consistency matching intensity. If someone's declaring soulmate-level feelings before they know who you really are, that's not passion. That's a red flag. Trust the process of slow, steady connection. That's what protects you.